Will climate change cause 83 million deaths by the end of the 21st century?
A new study by the Journal of Natural Science says that if by the end of the century, climate change will total up to 83 million deaths because of climate-related causes.
Yeah, they're wrong.
Ben Shapiro's point of view is clear. No, climate change will not cause 83 million deaths. And he's even refusing to see climate change as a case of emergency. But here's the thing, Ben Shapiro, you're wrong. And we need to stop arguing climate change based on what we think, but instead looking at the scientific facts and figures to back our arguments. In this video today, we'll be diving into why there's a risk of climate change causing 83 million deaths by the end of the 21st century.
The reason that they are wrong is because all of these studies are done in the absence of mitigating measures. So there's two ways you can deal with it. One is mitigation, which is we all stop driving cars, we stop using electricity, we don't have kids anymore, right? We really cut down on our carbon usage in ways that are catastrophic to the world economy. And what it really mostly does is it says to people in the developing world, hey, you're screwed. Because those are the people who really need carbon-based emissions.
When we're looking at how we best progress into the future, we essentially have two strategies that societies need to focus on. There is adaptation strategies on one hand, and on the other hand, we need to look at mitigation strategies.
Again, this doesn't mean there's nothing we can do. It means what we ought to be doing is the thing that will prevent the 83 million deaths, which is why I'm very confident it will prevent the 83 million deaths, adaptation. This means, for example, that we build seawalls. The simple fact of the matter is that New Orleans exists below sea level. When you're looking at coastal, low-lying areas, seawalls have been built in places in Miami, in places in Seattle. Now, these sorts of solutions are things we should be pursuing. They're a lot easier to do because technology is a lot easier to do than anything remotely approaching a global carbon tax, which will, number one, be unsuccessful, and two, will not mitigate the effects on the climate nearly as much as you're talking about.
Ben is talking about the importance of adaptation strategies, and I don't disagree with how much we have to prioritize this. There's got to be a high priority, and this includes things such as building seawalls, ensuring that when floods hit, it's not overflowing cities to the extent it would have done if we weren't ready and having adapted to the ever-changing climate. The other side of the equation is the mitigation strategies. And with mitigation strategies, we are essentially trying to make sure we aren't exceeding the 1.5 degree temperature increase, which is the threshold that are set by our scientists. Because it is absolutely key that we manage to prevent floods happening in the first place, but also let's not have a tunnel vision here thinking that,
oh, it's just gonna be a couple of floods coming in here and there.
It will go much broader than this. We are talking temperature increases that will have a knock-on effect on floods, on sea level rises, on ocean acidification, on crop failure because the climate is changing. And all of these things will have a straight impact on how well we as humanity can thrive on planet Earth. Let's take a look at what's already happening. What are the price we are paying right now as a straight consequence of climate change? Last year, WHO's, the World Health Organization, estimated that heat waves alone caused 15,000 deaths. And these deaths weren't happening somewhere far, far away in developing countries where, by the way, we are still earning the money we promised them years ago to help them combat and mitigate future impacts around climate change. No, these deaths are happening in developed countries, our neighbor countries, such as Germany and Spain. And at this point, I haven't even mentioned the floods in Pakistan, which scientists are saying are even more likely to have a straight correlation with climate change. These floods has caused nearly 2,000 deaths and has forced 7 million people to reallocate from their home. 7 million people. I'm from the country of Denmark. 7 million people is more than the entire country of Denmark having to find a new home. And then I haven't even talked about the financial consequences, because in terms of insured losses, we're looking at 5.6 billion US dollars. But if you're looking at the actual cost, it's estimated to be closer to 30 billion US dollars. And before we move on, I just want to dwell for a second on a research piece we did here at Planet 1.5 last year, when we were asked to look at NHS. So NHS is the National Healthcare System here in the UK, where we were looking into what adaptation and mitigation strategies the healthcare system are putting in place. And one of the major concerns that we could see when we were looking into this is exactly the factors that heat, air pollution, and humidity will drive up the number of people suffering respiratory diseases, and in the end of the day, how this correlates with an increased number in mortality.
Is a mistake. In order for us to take the mitigation measures that would be necessary in order to dramatically lower the trajectory of global climate change, you'd have to get China to sign on, which they will not. You'd have to get India to sign on, which they will not. Those are the two largest carbon-based emitters on planet Earth. And we live in a geopolitical world in which a carbon emission from China counts the same as a carbon emission from the United States.
So right now, I think we can all agree that the real beast in the world is Russia. But don't even get me started on that one. I think that aside, if we are looking at China, which Ben is mentioning in this clip, they are actually the world's largest provider of green energy. Are they having their problems? Are the world having problems with China? Absolutely. Really, really difficult to deal with. The world is difficult to deal with. Are we having problems in the UK and the rest of Europe? 100%. But also, don't even get me started on the fact that it's not that long ago that the lunatic of Donald Trump pulled out of the Paris Agreement.
The United States will withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord.
We need to stop working against each other and pointing fingers and get together to find common ground, find solutions, build strategies for how we are progressing on mitigation and adaptation. But that requires that we stop the mud throw and be willing to work together on this agenda. Thank you so much for watching this video. Give a like for the algorithm and hit the subscribe button for more content around sustainability and particularly sustainability for business. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video.